we are very, very big fans of the cheap seats and you and just everything.
I've tried really hard to get in the audience. Haven't succeeded yet.
Oh, my gosh.
But I'm not surprised there's a lot of people that want it. I'm assuming it's not a very big room.
Well, that's rude. No.
Mel was one of 6 kids in a wondrously blended family.
Because I have all these siblings and they all seem to have met the love of their life when they were 19. Well, if I'm 20 and I don't have someone, I don't have time. I ended up in a relationship with a 40-year-old puppeteer. He was trying to have a no strings attached relationship.
What was your sort of self-dialogue, self-worth like during that?
Pretty low, and I obviously wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I just didn't really know what a relationship should look like. He would say things like, I'm really good at manipulating people. And I was hiding the relationship. I didn't want to tell anyone about it, and that's not a good sign.
The Imperfects invites you into a very safe place. A place where we share without judgment and drink heaps of vulnerability. Grab yourself a cup. This is the Vulnerabilitea House.
Hello. Often it's either Hugh or I who
Haven't worked it out.
Mel's regretting it already.
Have you guys done this before?
No. We just been asking people to come on our podcast for years. No one's ever said yes. And so this will be like, oh my God, someone said yes. So we've just put this all together for you, Mel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. No, we are often, Hugh or I are usually the ones that talk first, but there's no real format to it. So sometimes it's obvious, but that time it certainly was not.
I was speaking to a friend of mine this morning in the car on the way here, and he said, anyone interesting on the podcast today?
And you
I
said no.
And I said, yeah, we got Melanie Bracewell actually. And he said, well, yeah, that's that chick from the creepy seats.
The creepy seats.
I said, no, not the creepy seats, the cheap seats.
Because
Yeah.
we get the cheap sheets a lot, which feels like the sort of adult spin-off of the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes with Have You Been Paying Attention, people don't quite get that right. They go, oh, have you?
Yes.
I think I got once. You're on that show, How to Get Away with Watching the News. It's like the vibe is there. It's long. It's something to do with the news. It's
not wrong, but it's not right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're very. I think sometimes we will finish an episode at the end by saying, "Anyway, we love you. Thanks so much." I can say confidently for everyone in this room, we love you, and we are very excited. We are very, very big fans of the cheap seats and you and just everything. So
I wish I felt the same way about you guys.
Can you pretend?
No, you guys are amazing.
It's sort of customary to pretend that you like the
I'm
podcast.
genuinely so excited to be here and chat to you guys. So, yeah, that's
Great.
awesome.
That's all we needed.
And that's a bye. We're done.
Now, there is sort of like one instant like connection that you and Hugh could make straight off the bat is that you're both ADHD. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So go.
Shit. Have you done your washing?
I have so many clothes currently in my car, in the bedroom,
yes.
in the hallway. There's just piles everywhere.
The worst thing I can do is get an item of clothing that can be dry clean only, because it will never happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not. I've got them ready to go at some point. I have not ever been to a dry cleaner.
What's your dream laundry instructions on a piece of clothing?
Oh, just chuck it in, mate.
Mate.
If there was just a label that just went, don't worry about it, I would be so pleased.
Yeah, wash and dryer, not a problem.
Not an issue. That would be amazing.
Any temperature.
Oh gosh. Goodness. This is just my dream.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I told this story on stage during our live tour last year, but I think you'll appreciate it. I look back on my life now. I didn't know at the time it was ADHD, but so many things I go, oh, that's why I did that. So I had to go to Sydney to do. It was like I was speaking at the NRL for the rookie camp. It's like all the first year players in NRL, which is quite a difficult thing to do. But I flew up there and I left the airport and I got a taxi all the way out to the Pullman in the CBD. and I queued up for ages to check in, and I finally got to check in. The guy goes, "Yep, your name," and I went, "Oh fuck, I left my bag at the airport. I didn't get my bag off the carousel." So I then went, "I'll be back in quite some time." So I then went back to the airport, found my bag just sitting there. Just someone had taken it off, and it was just sitting on the ground. Got my bag, got in the taxi, went back to the hotel, the Pullman, in the CBD, and then queued up again. Got to the front of the line, went to check in, and they went, "Oh, we don't have your booking here. We don't have a." I definitely got a booking. I'll show. And I pulled it out and showed it to him, and he goes, "So that's the Pullman at the airport. You're staying at the airport Pullman."
No, that is such a nightmare.
Okay.
Genuinely yesterday, I was in Brisbane to host this conference for Xero. It was huge. It was like 5,000 people.
Yeah, people love
They had
Xero.
Dragon opening at 9 a.m. The band, April Sun in Cuba. It was wild.
Out
So
of
it was
interest,
huge.
how do you invoice them?
Yes. Yeah, I use Henry. It was huge and mad. Anyway, we did the cheap seats on Tuesday, recorded the show, and then I had to go straight to the airport, and I was like, I've nailed this because I'm traveling so light. I've got just what I need, and so I'm in my active wear, and I arrive at the nothing clicks at all. Of like, why am I not suspicious at how light I'm traveling? I wake up in the morning, got to go to the sound check at 6:30 or something.
In the morning, AM.
6:30 in the morning because I couldn't do the sound check the day before.
Oh, yep.
And so I'm getting changed and I'm like, oh, I'll just put my dress on. And then I was like, I did not bring the dress I was planning to wear. Full just active wear, like the most casual of attire. They were like, oh, it's a bit smart casual. I was like, oh my God, okay, well, I'll just go buy something. Nothing opens until 9 a.m., which is when the show starts. I was like, I can't go there and go, get me a dress. You know, like you can't, I didn't want to tell anyone because I was so scared. Like they were already like fussing about with things. I didn't want to be like, oh, here's another problem, by the way.
I don't have clothes.
Can you give me the clothes off your back? Like that's what I was scared.
Yours will do.
I was scared that if I brought it up, they would try and fix it with a way that was just not right. And so I was like, I'm just going to sort it and I'll tell them after I've sorted it. The only thing that was opening at 8, which is when I was due in hair and makeup, was Target. So I was like, I'm just going to go to Target. I'll just grab something. And then on the way to Target, saw this like market that was selling secondhand clothes. Just like grabbed something. The lady, I think, knew I was panicked, definitely overcharged me. So I was like, I paid for this thing and I got back. And then they're doing my hair and makeup. In even an even lower point, she goes, I think there's something in your hair. And I was like, that's weird. I washed it this morning. Porridge. It was just the most, I was just like in this, and the worst part about it was like the dress I wanted to wear was quite expensive and I genuinely wanted to claim it as a tax expense. Anyway, it was just one of those mornings where I was just like, I've reached a point now that I've been diagnosed that I can laugh about it a little bit and kind of like understand that my brain works differently and it's kind of okay. Yeah. But when I was growing up, it was just like, oh, you're just stupid. Like you can, like the fact that you didn't think of this thing is just it proves that you're not intelligent or something. It's fun. It's a weird thing to grapple with.
Yeah, it is.
It is a vulnerability house, and we will get you to pick some cards. But I think for the uninitiated, Hugh, maybe inform our listeners who Mel Bracewell is.
Well, you should just indulge yourself and go to 10 Play and watch the cheap seats.
And most people will be surfing 10 Play every day anyway.
Oh, yes, exactly. If you wait sort of 45 minutes for it to buffer, you'll eventually be able to see the show and it will be awesome.
It's one of the best shows of all time. I love it so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so good.
I've
tried really hard to get in the audience. Haven't succeeded yet.
Oh, my gosh.
But one day, maybe I'll get the call.
Oh, my gosh.
I signed up to that. And have you been paying attention a few years ago and haven't
You've got to sound super. I don't know what is the application? Do they say anything or just your details?
And just details, and you put it in, and then it's like, sorry, there's a lot of people who want this. Back off.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is. I'm not surprised there's a lot of people that want it. I'm assuming it's not a very big room.
Well, that's rude. No. I assume it's just in a cupboard somewhere. It is Channel 10, so you're right. It's about we sort of get about 80 people in a week.
Oh, okay. I've been telling myself maybe it was like 10 just to make myself feel better.
Sometimes it feels like 10. Sometimes we're like really struggling. We're like, that's the joke's not working. I guess there's no one in here.
One day.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read some stuff about Mel. If you don't know Mel, this is Mel. That's our bio.
That's my bio.
This is the first time we've done this.
God, I'm worried about what bio you have because for a long time, because I started comedy at 19, my bio was at only 19 years old, she's achieved all of these things. And then every year I had to update it. And then I reached a point where but it's no longer an achievement to be like, at only 30 years old, she's done the same things. Yeah.
Well,
Just quickly adjust that bio.
okay, here we go. So it does start with an age-related fact.
Don't say it.
Funny.
At 16 years
No,
of age,
God, fuck. Sorry,
Melanie
no.
Bracewell had amassed over 200,000 followers on her Tumblr blog,
That's true.
Melodoodle, still active today, posting witty and funny text posts. Mel found her love for writing, received millions of likes, and even had one of her posts featured on Conan.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. So this was a photo I had with Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
Gus from Breaking Bad.
Right.
And I was at a convention and my friends were getting a photo with him and they had props because Breaking Bad was huge at the time. They had box cutters, not with the blades in them, but just the frame of it. And and I was like, I don't want my photo to just be boring. And I found a banana outside just sitting there. And I thought, if he pretends this is a gun, that will be really funny. I went up to him and I said, can you pretend this is a gun? And he said, it is a gun. And I was like, shit, you're a good actor. And he held it to my head and it went huge. And then this year I recreated it with him 10 years later with the same banana. No, I recreated it. And I said, do you remember me? And he said, yes. And I was like, shit, you're a good actor. It was great.
That's an amazing response. It is a gun.
Yes,
Wow.
I know. He was, and he also told me, because I'm very tall, he said, stand up straight, because I was sort of hunching down to be in the photo. And he was like, no, be proud of yourself, stand up straight. It was very sweet. Yeah.
Growing up in Beach Haven on Auckland's North Shore, Mel was one of 6 kids in a wondrously blended family. Within 3 years of beginning her comedy career with a stand-up routine, Mel won the Raw Comedy Quest, 7 Days Comedy Apprentice Award, Breakthrough Comedian of the Year Award, Best Newcomer Award, and the Billy T Award. During COVID, Mel received millions of views on TikTok for her impressions of Jacinta Ardern, gaining recognition from the BBC, The Guardian, and even Jacinta herself. The former New Zealand PM, was so impressed that Mel was invited to perform at a Labor Party event. So you performed an impression of her in front of her?
This was the worst part, was because in COVID, I went blonde, but then in COVID, my hair grew out. And so if I put my hair in a ponytail, it was brunette and it was fine. Then we got out of lockdown and I went back to blonde. And so in order to continue the impression, I had to buy a wig. But I could not get a good wig in a sort of short. I also didn't have a lot of money. And so I got one off Wish or something. And it was
What?
Wish or Temu or something. It was something like that. And it was so ratty and awful. Like, it was not a nice wig. I didn't look good in the wig. The issue is then meeting someone and going, I look exactly like you. Well, you're wearing this sort of rat's nest of a wig. It feels cruel.
Mel is a regular guest on Have You Been Paying Attention, 7 Days, and The Project. Mel's the co-host and co-writer of The Cheap Seats, as we said before. And you are every goal shooter's worst nightmare. If you're a goal shooter, you've probably stopped listening.
Watch out, guys, because I'm definitely 3 feet, even if the umpire calls it not so. I'm tall.
Okay, well, the Vulnerabilitea House, got the cards here. For those who don't know how it works, we have this deck of Vulnerabilitea House cards. New deck. This hasn't been used very much. We just released a brand new deck, Mel.
That's great.
And if you wanted to go to theimperfects.com.au and buy your own deck, you could. We'll give you one for free if you want, but if you wanted to hypothetically buy them, you could.
I'll do that.
From their website.
I'll do that as soon as I leave.
Do it now. Do it now.
It just feels like it won't.
can
It's a podcast,
No,
you
pause.
want to keep.
Grab your phone out now. Grab it now. Might as well.
I think it might be dead.
Well, we'll definitely chase that up later, remind you. So, Mel, on each of these cards is a question which might invoke hopefully some sort of memory or story that is vulnerable in some way. And then, so if you just pick the top 3 cards, read out the 3 questions, and if one of them resonates, then maybe you can talk about it.
This is the first one. Can you remember a time when someone's honesty hurt you but ultimately made you grow? Oh, do you guys react to them?
Oh, that's a good one.
If you could relive one moment in your life, what would it be and how would you do it differently?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
And who do you go to for advice and why?
Oh.
That's a good one. I mean, they're all good.
I think I might choose that last one of who do you go to for advice and why?
Yeah, okay.
And it's you guys. No, no.
Oh my God. What? Whoa. All right. Go on then.
No, this would be my mum, but it wasn't always my mum. Like growing up, I think I was quite like I kept everything to myself. I didn't really open up to my mum. I was really close to my dad, but in a dad way of like, oh, just joke around. And so I grew up with 5 siblings. So I'm the youngest, and both of my parents had their my eldest siblings when they were like 19. And then a big sort of gap, and then I came as a surprise, as they say. And
As like your parents say, or as general society says?
my parents say a happy surprise.
Yeah.
Both of my parents had previous marriages.
Yep.
And so I have a half brother and half sister on my dad's side, and a half brother and half sister on my mum's side, and then a full sister with my mum and dad.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's,
Yeah.
it's a blended family, and we all really love each other, and it's
That's the best.
Yeah.
it is great. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. But my elder sister is like 17 years older than me. And so my parents, because they had kids so young, like you can imagine, it's like if I had like an 11-year-old now and I was at the age where my siblings could sort of look after me, of course you'd go to the pub. Like,
Yes.
they didn't get their 20s, like they were
Yeah.
parents so young. And so when I was, old enough to be sort of looked after by my siblings and cousins and things, I would say I had 3 parents. I had my mum, my dad, and the Glenfield Leisure Centre, which was, we would go there. My parents would drop us off, like basically before it had even opened, would like drop us off, and they would go to the Glenfield Tavern, and we would spend so long at the pools that we would joke that we would be so wrinkly that we could get into the pub. We loved it though. Like it was one of those things you're just like, of course I want to spend 7 hours on the hydro slides, and it was great.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I know. But because because I had that sort of big gap in my siblings, and I just don't feel like I really opened up to my parents that much. I guess I kind of just like kept to myself. Also with the ADHD thing, I guess when you're a kid, you kind of feel a little misunderstood, maybe. Like if you feel like you're screwing everything up all the time, and if you're getting in trouble for doing the wrong things or forgetting things, you can sometimes get your guard up a bit and go, oh, I think I'm just a bit of I don't know if I'm doing anything right. And so it's not until sort of like I was in my 20s and I was like in the, going to uni and sort of still living at home because I was at uni in Auckland where I grew up. And it was sort of reaching that point where you're like, I don't know, you want to be like dating and things. And you're like, I live with my parents. And I ended up in a relationship. I just started comedy. I ended up in a relationship with a 40-year-old puppeteer. And I was 20. And so this is the thing with comedy though, is that you start and I was 19 when I started, and you're not going to a workplace. Like you're going to like a pub, and you're going to a bar, and you're just hanging out with adults all the time, and you feel like, because I had all these older siblings, I just felt like an adult. And it was just not. It was funny because it was like, I joke about it now because he was a puppeteer and he was trying to have a no strings attached relationship, and it's too on the nose.
Yes.
And I knew it wasn't a good relationship. This guy was not he was not faithful. He was like cheating on me, and he was like people will often say who they are. He would say things like, I'm really good at manipulating people. And I weirdly,
Like,
I thought,
ironically? Like,
no,
was that a
he
joke?
would genuinely, he's like, I know how to make people.
Lift their arms and legs?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and thinking about it now, you're like, how did I not see that this was like a really toxic relationship? And he would,
I guess you're 20.
I know, I'm 20. And I also, my previous relationships were not very good. And so I didn't really have a litmus test for what a good relationship looked like.
Yeah.
And I obviously did not tell my parents about this relationship. And I was using my mum's laptop and I had left it open. I'd left it open and Facebook was there. And my mum read our entire conversation.
Whoa.
And I was mortified. Like, it was just, a complete invasion of privacy. And I remember just feeling like so awful. And obviously he freaked out. He's like, I can't talk to you anymore because this is, my mum messaged him and was like, what are you doing, kind of thing. And
so did she know about the existence of him at all?
did not know about the existence of him at all. Probably knew that I was dating someone because I was out a lot.
Yeah.
Could your mum tell from the messages this is not a good person, or was it?
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, I almost wanted to look back. I had deleted and nuked everything from any interaction I've had with him, so I can't even look back and go oh, that was weird. But I think she just was like, this is weird. This guy's too old for you, which is true. And he was not a good guy, and my mum had the right instincts. The way she went about it was not the right thing to do. And so it caused this huge rift between me and my mum, and I just couldn't understand how she wouldn't apologize for it. She just went, I thought you left it on my computer because you were crying for help. And I thought I'm like a mother lion, and I've got to protect my child, and that's just all I care about.
She said that at the time.
And, yes, and I just remember thinking I sort of get it, but I also am just so mortified by this that I can't.
Was it embarrassment or shame, do you think?
Oh, both. And I obviously knew, and this guy would always sort of he would treat me like I was his girlfriend, right? And would be so loving and so caring. And then the moment I was like, okay, so what's this? He was like, well, obviously there's no future here because you're too young. And it would be this thing oh, it's never going to happen. But then also all of the things in a relationship that sort of make sense. And I was just so heartbroken because I'd never had a successful relationship at all. I'd dated, and all of my relationships lasted 3 months, and I couldn't work out what was wrong and what was happening. And I was going on dates and things like that and trying, but I was at school. I was sort of like a tall, lanky girl with braces, did not get much attention from guys at all. And so when I went into the comedy scene and I was, dressing up nicer and people who had no context of me were interested in me, it was this weird, crazy shock to the system. It was oh, this person is giving me a lot of attention, and this guy, because he's old, he's got money, and so he's like, oh, I'll pick you up and I'll take you out to this thing. And it was just well,
that would feel nice.
It's not something that I had ever experienced before. And so I just didn't really know what a relationship should really look like. And I didn't know who to talk to about it, because then once this had happened as well, I was like, oh, my instincts were right to not talk to my mum about it because she reacted in this way.
What would you have preferred your mum to have done? After she read the messages, what would be your dream reaction from her?
I think my first thing was reading the messages felt like the first betrayal.
Yeah.
So even if she didn't message him, I think I would have still felt like someone reading your diary or something. You know, you just feel God, I'm trying to flirt. It's anyone seeing messages trying to flirt with someone just feels so
It's like a violation of some sort. Yeah,
definitely. And so mum, I think, had convinced herself that I had done it on purpose, and that's why she felt justified in doing it. She felt I had left my Facebook there because I was trying to be like, Mum, I'm in this situation, help, which wasn't true. But I moved out shortly after that, and we got this sort of space from each other, and that space really helped. And my mum sent me an email, which I know sounds really impersonal, but it was almost like writing a letter. You know what I mean? It felt like she was able to say all of the things she wanted to say, and she apologized, and she said, I shouldn't have done it, and I'm really sorry.
How long after was that?
I think it was, I can't remember exactly, but it would have been a couple weeks of sort of giving it some breadth and some time. And after that, I felt finally I could talk to my mum about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a weird one. It's just, I think also my mum probably has ADHD, and we've both got this sort of defensive personality, and it's so hard to admit that you're wrong. And I know that what had happened with me was wrong as well, but it was just almost we kind of have too much in common that we almost butted heads on the issue.
It's sort of like expected that a parent should do that, but it's also like a really big thing to kind of like apologize, especially after a couple of weeks. Like that's quite quick.
Yeah, totally. I think my mum, I love her like a lot, and she's amazing, and she's a really intelligent woman, and she's fierce, and she's really, she can get riled up. And I have that quality as well. Like you can just really start seeing that. She'll be like, you get like her in like a Facebook community group. She'll be like, this woman was just actually said something quite rude actually about someone had actually dumped rubbish in our lawn, and I was just complaining about and she had commented, and I actually have seen Linda comment on other pages, and I think, that sort of thing, that classic sort of mum defensiveness, and I have that quality as well. And it's just, we never really like opened up in that way. I always felt like, I don't know, too shy or embarrassed to talk about things like that with my mum. And after it, it's almost like it opened this kind of nice pathway into connecting with my mum, because like the moment she apologized, I sort of thought, oh, like she heard me. And weirdly, you kind of, I guess as your parent, you sometimes feel like they have no idea what I'm going through. And I always see these like TikToks of people like just being like, your mum was like a young girl too once. And it's such a like a weird thing, and so obviously true, but it doesn't feel true until you think about it. Like your parents being your age, and my mum having a small child when she was, that age. She had she had to care for a kid, and she had so much more responsibility than I did.
It's it's really hard to imagine, isn't it? Like, because it makes sense, like because of time, but like it's really like I remember seeing there's some old like home videos that my dad had somewhere, and it was like a dinner party, or like a party they had at their mum and dad had at their house. And I think he must have set the camera up on like a tripod in the corner of the room to just capture the scene.
Oh, that's so nice.
And it was before I was born. So it was it was like they would have been, when I watched it, they were younger than I was when I watched it. And I was like, people were smoking inside. And I was just
it
like,
was a video.
It was a video.
Oh, wow.
It was like a video of like this party with friends over. And I was like, whoa, they were just 20-year-olds.
Yes, it's such a weird thing to think about, that your parents were kids. And I had this connection with my mum, and I remember talking to her and just being like, I'm just like, dating is so hard. And I guess because I have all these siblings and they all like seem to have met the love of their life when they were 19. I was like honestly, met at high school, met straight like first year of uni, together for 11 years, get married. They just like, that was those were the relationships I saw. And I was like, well, if I'm 20 and I don't have someone, I don't have time. I genuinely was like, it's your only perspective you have. You just go, oh, my sister, met her husband when she was 15. My brother met his wife when he was 18. And you just go like, that's the only way to do it. And I'm running out of time, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah, and every year you don't find someone, it's like, I'm 1 year too late. I'm 2 years too late.
Totally, yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
How did you know? You said before that the puppeteer was cheating on you.
Yeah.
But did he? Because we spoke to Matt O'Kine, and he talked about being cheated on, and it was a conversation we never had on the podcast before. It was really interesting. I'm interested to know your experience of that.
Yeah, so he was trying to find a show to watch on his laptop, and it like just popped up with a message in the corner that was like, I miss my head in your chest, or something like that. It was like something like very clearly like a message from a girl about something. And
I miss my head in your chest.
Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember.
My head on your chest.
Yes,
okay.
Not in.
They said, I miss my head and your chest. Which is, anyway, sorry.
Well, it was something on those lines. It was very clearly a romantic message.
Gotcha.
And I just was like, oh, and he's like, oh, but like, this is obviously not we're not ever going to work out. So that's why I'm pursuing other things. And I was just like, oh, okay. And it had been a few months. So you just kind of felt like, even though there was no discussion about it, that it was this exclusive thing. Because you're also just like, how do you have the time? I'm just like, aren't you busy? How do you have the time to date two people? It's too difficult.
I mean, cheaters before phones and computers must have run rampant.
Yeah.
Like how were they
It's
ever
the only way they get caught now.
Yeah.
True.
There's something so sinister about it for me, from an older guy and a younger girl. Because as you said, you're like trying to work it all out. That guy's had like 25 years of working it out and now knows all the tricks and all the manipulation.
Yes. Oh, totally.
It's so much more sinister when there's that age gap.
Yeah, he knew all the right things to say, and I think that's why I felt so just in it at that time and kind of had my blinders up to the crappy things because I didn't really have any relationships that were really nice anyway. So I wasn't able to go like, oh, I deserve better because I just didn't know like what it should look like.
It's such a to say the obvious, but just to say it out loud, it's such a horrible thing. And I guess people cheat all the time and it happens a lot. But I mean, I know a couple of people who've gone through really similar things, and it doesn't, like, the breakup is not the end of it. It's like it's how it affects you for years and years after.
And I think they sort of know what to do. So as soon as you sort of question anything, you go, oh, I didn't really like how that happened, or like you didn't reply to me, or something like that. They go, well, I can't be with someone who's going to question everything I do. And so suddenly it's like, oh, you've questioned me, well, then it's over. And you just go, no. And you want to like hold on to them tighter because you're worried that, okay, now I can't ask about anything because that's going to end the relationship. And so it's a really like clear manipulation tactic because they know you're not going to go, okay, yes, let's end it because you're in this situation. And so it's rough. But when I was talking to my mum about it afterwards and was actually opening up to her, as I was saying about, realizing your parents are human too, Mum was like, oh yeah, like I was in this string, like, she went through a divorce, she went through that and she had shitty relationships and she was saying, oh, I kept trying to date and I ended up in these 3-month-long relationships. I was like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
And it just kind of clicked and I went, oh, like Mum was dating and hating it and having all of these shitty experiences and it didn't, and then she met my dad and she met my dad when, she was 28 or something like that. And had kids and had a family and had this whole other story. And it wasn't over for her because her first relationship didn't work out.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it kind of like things sort of clicked into place for me on that.
Was this potentially too much of a personal question? Well, it's about your mum, but like, was she cheated on? Is that why she potentially reacted like so like protectively because she knows the feeling?
Yeah, and maybe I'll talk about this, but then I might just message my mum and be like, "Is this okay to say?" But she her relationship was really toxic.
Okay.
So this sort of really like awful relationship experience for her, I think she saw that in me and went like, "I can't." That hurt me. She's like, it still hurts me now, even though I'm happy and I'm married and I'm with someone I love. You still hold on to those past relationship traumas. And I think she just didn't want that to happen to me. And she's very protective of her kids because, she had this dude around that was, not a good guy. So it's a lot to unpack with her and but it just kind of made me understand a little better. Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing, like, contextual piece of the puzzle to understand, like, why. Well, that probably explains why she felt like she needed to read all the messages because she was like, I'm worried for her because of what happened to me. Yeah.
Totally. And I have those sort of aspects of my personality of just like wanting to control things. And I can imagine if I had kids in the future, it's so you would want to control the outcomes of them. You want everything. You want to protect them, and you want to keep them innocent, and make them feel like nothing can hurt them. And so you only realize it when you're older. And I wish I realized it at the time of sort of understanding that a little more. And if that was the case, I may have gone to my mum earlier and gone. She wouldn't happen. She wouldn't have read my messages because I would have said, "Hey, Mum, I'm in this weird relationship. I don't know what to do, and I'm feeling this way."
Yeah.
Then it may have ended in a better way and in a healthier way, and I would have, not felt so controlled by it, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's like my kids are really young, but I whenever I see them displaying traits that remind me of myself, I always react in a way negative traits. I always react in a way I regret. Whereas when they're doing things that are sort of I say negative, but like just traits that are not easy to handle or like causing an issue that are not my traits.
Yeah.
I'm like much easier. I can sort of handle
It's
it.
so interesting. I feel even the same sort of with my partner because he also has ADHD. He's also on the autism spectrum. And it's like things that like when he's messy, I weirdly get angry. But it's like his pile of washing is right next to my pile of washing. I'm like, clean that up. And I know that like I'm actually mad at myself that I've let the house get out of control. But it's much easier to be like, okay, so every time you get up and you have your ADHD medication, you get a new glass. And they just sort of, there's about 12 glasses of water that accumulate on one side of the bench. And I look at those glasses of water and I can get really angry.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my makeup is sitting on the bathroom counter and like you can barely even get to the tap. So it's I know that I'm being hypocritical, but I think that's part of it. I'm attacking him, but I'm attacking myself at the same time.
Yeah, I think that it's the traits that remind you of yourself that you really blow you up. And I think I'm not surprised that given the way you've also described how similar you and your mum are and the stories there, it's like I can totally see how she would immediately react in a way that she's like, fuck, why did I do that?
My dad was sort of like he would blow up in an angry way, but it would always be, we would kind of laugh about it because he's so funny. So, you know, we'd be putting together like a bookshelf or something. You've got to hold the thing while he's nailing it and you're not holding it correctly. And he's like, well, just fuck it then. And then 5 minutes later, he'd be like, was a bit psycho there. And it was just like, we always knew that like, okay, Dad's reacted this way, but it will always be like, he was really good at apologizing and really good at being like, you know, that was a bit too far.
Accountability,
Yeah. Can I ask you about, because I've heard this said a lot in my life, but I've never heard someone talk about it in detail, and you might not have anything to say here, but I think that I've heard that a relationship between a mother and a daughter, when it's a healthy one, is like something unique and very special.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know what that is for you. Like what makes it special and what makes it unique?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I still wouldn't put myself in that category of, you know, when you see, I don't know, people who are like, I've got my mum around, I'm going to braid each other's hair. And I guess I was a bit of just like a tomboy. And I honestly think I don't really have that many relationships with women. It's actually quite a hard thing to do, I think, in a lot of ways. Like I didn't have a lot of like lots of girl mates around me. The closest thing I have to girl mates is like a netball team. That's like the way I try and make girlfriends, but I just weirdly found it easier, or maybe I just had more common interests with guys. And I think you guys have spoken about this before. I was listening to the episode with Hannah Ferguson.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why.
Just constantly scouring, checking transcripts for my name. Oh, yeah, this one sounds good.
You guys tagged me. Just about that thing about having relationships where you're side by side as opposed to face to face.
Oh, yes.
And I've always been more comfortable with side by side. And I kind of, I don't know, maybe I just still kind of love that. I still like the idea of having a deep and meaningful chat in the car because you don't have to look at each other. Because it makes you, I don't know, I feel like looking at people I can kind of, you know, tense up a bit. And the idea of doing an activity, it's all of my first dates were always like, go play a game, go play sport, because then it felt like there was always something to talk about. You didn't have to stress about making conversation. You could, you know, talk about what you were doing and have fun and win. Like, because I'm a very competitive person. And so I, as a result, feel like I don't have that many like gal pals. And I think I'm trying, but maybe I'm not trying hard enough because I moved to Melbourne. I was like, okay, I have to like make friends. This is really hard. And so joining a netball team felt like the first thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting sort of close to this person. No, she's moved to Geelong. And you just like, as an adult, it's so much harder because people already have kind of set down their roots. And a lot of my like friends at school were like, because we'd go home and we'd get on Skype and we would chat like and play video games for hours. And that was maybe just growing up on the internet age and becoming that like, I don't know, feeling more comfortable being able to communicate without being seen. Maybe that sort of contributes to that. But I always so wanted to be part of this like this big group of girls and wanted to do that and wanted to, have those connections. It just didn't happen. And it's not out of lack of trying. And I do try. I'm like, let's go get coffee. But sometimes I think it's a sort of, again, an ADHD thing of this rejection sensitivity. So if you just say, oh, we're all going to go to the sports game, you can come if you want, that feels fine if they don't say yes. But if you go, can you and I go get a coffee? And they go, I'm too busy. It feels like you're the issue.
Yeah.
It's not a schedule thing. It's just someone doesn't want to hang out with you. So it's just, I guess it's just that protective layer of if there's another thing that you were going to do anyway and you bring someone in on that, you don't have to be afraid of them saying no or rejecting you. Yeah.
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah,
I really like, especially with trying to make new friends as you get older and you meet people that you're like, oh, you're really the kind of person I want to be friends with. But the fear of saying like, do you want to just, I guess alcohol is somewhat acceptable. Like, let's go grab a drink. That kind of like, there's a point to it.
I know.
But to say like, do you want to just get a coffee or like lunch?
No.
That to me is like, oh, fuck, if I'm not absolutely on my 100% best game
I'm going to
here,
screw this. It feels like a
it's
job
all-
interview.
Yeah, I've screwed the whole thing. Whereas if it's like a group of us are already doing this, come along if you want. Like, no big deal if you can't. Or and even if you come along, it's not on me. Like, there's there's something to focus on that I'm not responsible for. Then it's like, okay, I think I can manage that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I feel, and I say that I'm trying, but I think that my trying is not quite right in the sense that telling someone, let's get a drink sometime, let's hang out sometime, is not really a request at all. Because it will never happen. You go, we've got to catch up.
Yeah.
And you say these things and you feel like, I'm really trying, but it's not happening because no one's making the plan. No one's actually doing anything. And you just feel like, oh, I did that thing. I checked off that box of reaching out, but you're not actually reaching out in a way that
Putting a time in the
that
calendar.
makes you makes you vulnerable at all. And so I have that so much with, people who I've been like, oh, I'm trying to make friends with this person. I'm trying to get closer to this person. I will just go, yeah, we've got to do this. And it just never happens. And then I'm like, oh, I've been living in Melbourne for 5 years. And I'm like, I've got friends that are all from New Zealand. And so it's just...
It's interesting.
And a netball team.
yeah, and a netball team.
It's interesting because, like, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't, like, they know you as a performer and a stand-up,
Yeah.
but they don't know that a big part of your working life is writing. Like, you do a lot of writing. And such a big part of writing is rejection. And so it's like you're constantly, like, putting out ideas,
God, yeah.
scripts, you're suggesting a joke, and so much of it is people going like, yeah, I don't know if that's like 90% of the job.
It's a classic thing in like a writer's room is you go, not this, but something along the lines of this, because you're so scared. You're just like, I'm just trying to like start the idea going, but it's definitely not this. This is really shit. This is the worst pitch you've ever heard.
Yeah.
But I
Never
gotta
speak
say
to me
it,
again.
even though in the head you're like, I think this is actually really good. It's just like you just never want to have confidence in an idea, and because it feels like you're opening yourself up to someone. Yeah.
But when we were working together, I didn't get the sense that you were like you had any sort of emotional fear about like putting ideas out there. You seem pretty like, oh, we'll just keep.
It's something that I think is with time you work on, and it's like as you do it more, it's the same. It's like you're sort of priming yourself to be rejected, and if you do it enough, I feel like people do it on TikTok where they're like rejection sensitive training, and they'll go up to someone and just be like, "Hey, like, do you want to grab a coffee?" And it's just like a random person, and they know the person's going to say no, but they just do it to feel like I felt that no. And I don't think it has any science behind it. I genuinely think it's a meme.
Just good content.
But
yeah.
but there's some truth to it in the sense that if you realize not to take it so personally over time of working in writers' rooms and being a woman in a writer's room, you're like, not with you obviously, but like in a bigger writer's room, you're like, no one's going to hear this anyway. I'll wait for someone to pitch the same idea I just said in 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
We had a guy on the podcast called Cam Walker, who's a YouTuber and a author illustrator. Struthless, yeah. And he said that he did this thing where when something really bad would happen, he would say, how is this the best thing that's ever going to happen to me? Or how is this the best thing that's ever happened? That's how he'd try and reframe it. And I was just wondering if that really toxic, awful relationship might not be the best thing that ever happened to you, but has it helped you in your future relationships in identifying what you do and don't want, or
Definitely. And everything just sort of needs time because I genuinely had feelings for this person. It's not like I was like just felt like I was caught in a trap. I genuinely really thought we had so much in common. I thought we would he was so easy to talk to, and I find it hard sometimes to talk to people. And so I was like, there were things about it that I was like, oh, this is what I really want. But the thing I think what I've realized is having those bad relationships is why my current relationship I think is so strong because I don't miss dating at all. Like I don't. People sort of who are in relationships, they go, I miss being out there on the prowl. No, I hated it.
Yeah.
I really had a terrible time with it, and so I know I don't want to be single, and I know I want to be with this person who my partner, we met in high school. We did not date in high school, and we did not date until many, many, many years after high school. And both of us are so glad we didn't because we got to go out and have these life experiences. We got to kind of become better people as well. Like I'm not going to say I was like the perfect person in my 20s. I made heaps of mistakes, and I think that was really useful for me to do, not with this person who I really love. And so I did learn a lot from the toxic relationships, or even just the relationships where nothing necessarily bad happened. It was just with the wrong person. I know why they were the wrong person.
One of the things I've found surprising in my life, and I want to caveat this because I know that some people have pretty bad relationships with their parents, and their parents can be very challenging people. But something I've found that sounds like it might resonate with you is that when I have gotten to the point when I really needed to talk to someone and I'm like, I'm just going to have to talk to my parents because they're the only ones I feel I can, I've always been shocked at how incredible their counsel and advice has been. Like it's really, I'm like, where did that wisdom come from? And that's exactly what I needed to hear.
It's funny. I was thinking about it, how like when I was a kid, I would be so fearful of getting in trouble for certain things that maybe I thought I was going to get in trouble for everything. So I would do something that was clearly an accident. I dropped a vase or something and it would break and I would cry. I'd be like, I'm so sorry. And my parents would be like, it's okay. It's just a vase. And you think, oh, like you're in your imagination, they're going to say, oh my God, that's the best vase we've ever had and you've ruined the whole day. And you think, oh my gosh, I've ruined everything. But it's maybe because you've kind of made a few mistakes where you have got in trouble and you just can't work out what are the okay mistakes to make. And something that's clearly an accident, you just knocked something and it was just, there was no avoiding it. It's not a decision to go and smash the vase. They're obviously very empathetic and they can understand and make you feel better about it. So
and also when as you get older, you sort of better understand that like your parents' reaction, knowing what was the right mistake and wrong mistake, it's like it's very dependent on probably their mood on that day.
Totally, yeah, exactly.
Like it's actually nothing to do with the type of vase, it's actually to do with the type of day they were having.
Totally.
But I also think as a parent, when that happens, you can tell the genuine remorse and the genuine emotion of the child straight away. It doesn't really matter if I'm having a shit day or not. If they do something that they feel genuinely bad about, it cuts. Do you feel the same way?
Totally,
It cuts straight to the core straight away. And it elicits the right response. Does that make sense?
It's so fascinating because it's like I haven't gone for ages, to be fair, but I had been going to therapy, and it's when they talk about your childhood, right? And they talk about how many things like sort of shape who you are. But she was always very careful to be like, this is not like bad parenting. These are just things that happen, and things that happen when we're a kid. Also, just your parents, if they grew up where you smack a kid and all those sorts of things, that they're just the way that they were raised. You sort of get this perspective and it shapes who you are as a person. Because my mum had a tough time growing up. She was the only girl and she had 5 brothers and they were all very, very religious, and my mum felt very sort of restrained in that way. My dad was adopted. I didn't know he was adopted until he was like in his teens, like 14, 15,
Shit.
adopted by his auntie, so grew up with his cousins. And we like look back and we're like, oh, this is so funny and crazy. We go, these family photos where his siblings, we thought his siblings, tiny. He's this really tall guy. It was like the movie Elf. It was just like, we're like, oh, that's so crazy and funny. But he saw a photo of him, a family photo, and he said, I hate that photo. I hate it because I feel like I completely don't fit in with the family. And I was growing up and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was different to these people. I thought they were my brothers and sisters.
Gosh.
And I don't know why I'm the odd one out.
Yeah.
And when he found out that, his real siblings were living down the road and the reason why he was adopted and grew up with his auntie was because his mum passed away when he was like 6 weeks old. And so his dad can go, I can take these kids to work. I can't raise a baby by myself with all these other kids. It's too hard. And he, dropped out of school and went, and he's definitely had ADHD as well. Lived in a tree house for a year. Like, I'm just like, as soon as I remember my parents' stories, I just go, oh my God, Melanie, get a grip. You had a house, you had somewhere to live, you have family that loves you, you have all of these, you're so privileged in a lot of ways. And it kind of, you empathize so much more with your parents as you kind of get to the age that they were when they were going through those crappy things.
Yeah. When you were in that relationship with the puppeteer, yep, 40-year-old puppeteer, and you said you sort of logically knew it wasn't, there were some things that were not right. What was your sort of self-dialogue, self-worth like during that?
Yeah, and in the sense that I knew it wasn't right, I just meant in a logistical way even. I was like, this guy's 40, so if I get married when I'm 30, he's going to be 50. And there's just all of these things. And I was hiding the relationship. I didn't want to tell anyone about it. And that's not a good sign.
Not really.
Yeah.
I wasn't excited. I can't wait for my parents to meet their peer. No.
They'll see each other at the school reunion.
Yeah, exactly. I just was like, I was not excited in that sense. And I always kind of had this fairy tale view of like this, if I ended up in a relationship, it would be like my siblings and I would be so excited to introduce them to members of my family. I always knew it wasn't really right, but I guess I had a lot of low self-esteem. My relationship before that it was my first boyfriend and it was a comedian and I hadn't started comedy. And I was just really, really into him and he was not into me in the same way. But he just was so awkward he didn't know how to break up with me. And so he got on the radio and there was because he was a radio host. I remember tuning in and he was like a love advice segment. He's like, we get this question a lot, but I think let's just dive into it. How do you break up with someone? And I remember thinking, and I was just like, no, but as my logic was just still like, I kept trying to cling on to this relationship so hard. I was like, oh, now he's just telling publicly how he's going to break up with me so I can avoid it. So it'd be like, the advice would be like, oh, you've got to make sure you break up at their house because you don't want them to come over to your house and then they won't leave. And I was like 18, so very young. Didn't know really much about relationships. And I remember him being like, "Oh, should I come round?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm busy." And I was just avoiding this breakup. I was just like, I knew how he was going to do it, so I was like, I can prolong this relationship for ages because I could just dodge the breakup. And I was like, that's a big mistake. Don't show your cards, you know. Like, I know exactly.
Don't come in.
Don't come in. And so, I definitely did not have a lot of confidence, but your brain, you justify things in so many ways when you feel like I felt like I loved this person. I know now that I didn't because I really know what love feels like, but I was, I guess, in love with the idea of being in a relationship. And so I justified so much and again had stupid logic of like, well, if we break up, we'll never finish Narcos. We're in season 2 and it's getting good and so we've got to keep watching this show. And then, all of those like silly parts of your brain that just like, logistically we can't break up because of all of these reasons. But the reality of it was probably because he was stifling my self-confidence and making me not feel like he made me feel really special and then really worthless in sort of in a manner of days. And I just kind of had this push and pull of it, which I think is just a tactic to have someone stay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say pretty low. And I obviously wasn't happy, even
Yeah.
though I thought I was happy because the happy moments were so great.
Yeah.
It felt
Certainly in
awesome.
comparison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're in a great relationship now. What comes first? Your increased self-worth or a great relationship?
Yeah, I think the self-worth probably comes before that. And I say that weirdly. I mean, I don't know if my self-worth was that high when I got in my current relationship. I mean, people say like, oh, what is that? You got to love yourself before you can love anyone else. I don't know if I fully agree with that. So sometimes people can come in and they can heal you in a way. They can kind of sort of, not to say you should expect that from people and that's a requirement for a relationship. And sometimes having low self-worth can sabotage a relationship. But for me, both of us were not in the best place. My boyfriend had short-term memory loss. We went through all of these medical things. Not until about maybe 6 months into our relationship, finally found out it was B12 deficiency. His doctor just did not give him a blood test and put him on antidepressants because they thought he was so depressed. That's why he couldn't remember anything.
It's a while. I mean, this is a whole stand-up special.
Yes, this is my show on YouTube. Forget Me Not on. Yeah,
we'll link to that. That's so good.
And it was just about this sort of journey we went on, which was he had short-term memory loss in the sense that he would not be able to remember much from a day. His long-term memory was fine, and because we knew each other in school, like we kind of, he knew I wasn't a stranger or anything. But it would be like we would play basketball, and then the next day he'd be like, I'm thinking about basketball for some reason. I don't know why. Like we played for like 2 hours yesterday. One time I took him to like a friend's house, and we were like playing Nintendo, and he's like, I just need some fresh air. He went out, and then I get a text from him, and he just says like, where am I? And he'd gone and he went outside. He went and had a nap, woke up, had no idea where he was, wandered like through the streets, and he had texted his dad and been like, do you know like why I'm in like Mount Albert? He's like, no, I don't. And it was this really scary time. And it was this B12 deficiency, and it feels so crazy at how kind of minor it is. It's just because he was on a vegetarian diet, stopped eating eggs, and he was much better after he was after he got some supplements and things. But both of us were not in a good. So I was sort of in this caretaking role, and then I had also just had a sort of mini breakup with someone. I had a sort of on and off again relationship that finally kind of properly ended. Yeah. And I was not in a great space, but oddly, I don't know, there was this sort of like this caretaker role that kind of helped me through it as well. Like us looking after each other almost helped us both heal from those things.
Yeah.
Like I was able to kind of go on this like, oh, who gives a crap about this? I need to look after this person. I need to make sure they're okay. And I really want to like, I think I love this person, and I need to, help them.
Yeah.
And that was sort of when Sean and I sort of got into a proper relationship and we made things official, I realized the difference between our relationship and relationships I've had in the past was I didn't plan any conversations in advance. I know that's so stupid, but I remember thinking like, when I was in these relationships where I felt like someone was pulling away from me, I thought, how do I fix this, or how do I make this work? And I realized I was like going, I can tell them this anecdote, okay? And I would actually put a note in my phone and like and plan things to say to them and how to have a conversation with them in order to make them like me. And I wasn't really being myself. I wasn't feeling natural. I was feeling like, I don't know, I was trying to script this relationship because that's the way I feel like I'm a bit of a problem solver. And that's why I think I say, oh my God, all of these people have left me. In reality, I've never dumped anyone because I feel like I want to fix everything. And it's not that I feel like, oh my God, I'm horrible and this person's amazing and I need to cling on to it for that reason. I felt like leaving a relationship was like quitting on something. And
losing competitive.
Yeah, so genuinely, maybe it did feel like it felt like a failure, and I didn't want to fail. And so I realized pretty soon into our relationship how much easier and how much of a weight it felt off me to not have to like plan anything. I would just go, oh, he would love to hear this. And I would say it, and I would feel like we clicked in a way that didn't I don't know, it didn't feel like I
require
was
planning.
trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it sounds so silly, but yeah, I just remember and being like, oh, I don't have to wait a week to text him in order to make sure I seem cool.
Yeah,
and,
the protocol right.
Oh
yeah.
my God. I just was so glad to sort of abandon that
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, I got to text him. He won't remember the last text anyway. It's all good.
I haven't heard from you in ages. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why, this is probably not the right time to ask this, but why do you think everyone from New Zealand is such a great person?
Oh gosh,
I've never
that's
met a
such a
person.
loaded question. Oh yes, I'm the first person on the Imperfects podcast to be perfect. No, it's wow. That's an interesting question. I don't know if I can fully answer that because there's a few bad eggs in our government.
Just people I've met.
Yeah.
Just who.
My
Just,
hairdresser.
Oh yeah, New Zealand.
Great guy.
Oh,
Mike, shout out to
man.
Mike.
I mean,
Love him.
obviously, I love New Zealand and I love New Zealanders, and I will be very biased and say, yeah, I am so grateful I grew up in New Zealand. We're just small. We don't take ourselves too seriously. It's hard to be cocky when you're a little tiny island that no one cares about. No one you just feel like you're off in the corner. And so I don't know. I think we just have a really relaxed way of life.
Yeah.
I also think that the Māori culture in New Zealand is so important and amazing, and I'm like always so grateful. That's why I'm mad at the government, because it's like such a special thing about New Zealand is our sort of Māori cultural heritage. And so when I see sort of that stuff getting stripped away or even just lessened to any extent, I'm just like, oh, it sucks, because when I go home to New Zealand, I feel like amazing when I hear Te Reo Māori on TV, and when I see it and when you arrive at the airport and you think this is something that makes our country so unique and special, and there's so many values that I think carry through New Zealanders, even white New Zealanders who don't really realise it. I'm very small part Māori, and so it's sort of part of my family, and I think it's a really cool part about New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely.
With your mum, just back with to your mum, how do you think it would have affected your relationship if your mum had have been, for whatever reason, and this is like a lot of people, for whatever reason she would have been too proud to write you the email and didn't apologise, basically?
I think it would be really hard, and it was really hard at the time because I had felt like it was a very clear this is stepping over a boundary, and when you feel like your boundary has been crossed and then they just stay in there, you just sort of go, you just have this sort of slight discomfort. And I think if she hadn't apologized, I would maybe think, well, maybe we don't have that much in common because she can't see me and she can't hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a really important thing to happen for us to really get past that. And I think it would have definitely just been an unspoken barrier between us, which would have been a shame.
Yeah, it's sort of like a really amazing way, like a big apology like that is like a incredible way of sort of saying, I'm not better than you. And there isn't like this default hierarchy, but just because I'm your mum, it doesn't mean that I'm always right. Like that's quite a powerful change. Yeah,
and I think she grew up in a time where the parents were always right? Like her parents were probably in that same category of respect your elders. Respect your elders no matter what. And I have members of my family that, again, parts of my extended family who have done something wrong by me, and they're so shocked that I don't just sort of sit back and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Even though you're the one who's come to my comedy show and heckled and berated me in the bar afterwards, and I'm supposed to be like, oh no, I'm sorry. So it's and I'm not close with everyone in my family. I've got such a huge family, so I've got 25 cousins, and so I have cousins who I would never speak to because I just don't have. I don't like them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
genuinely true. I'm
Yeah.
just going,
Out of 25, it's bound to be one or two.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's one of my cousins. It's funny. It was like one of my first kind of comedy filmed things. It was around an election, and I was doing these informative pieces about like she was supposed to be skewed to younger people to be like, how does the parliamentary system work? We're going to explain in Tim Tams, and so we'd have all the Tim Tams to be the seats and stuff. It was supposed to be quirky. We were funded by the Electoral Commission, so it couldn't really be too satirical or skew any way left or right. It had to be just pretty informative. But I think we still did a good job of making it fun. And there was this comment that was like, I don't understand why these comedians think they're funny, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at it and it was my cousin.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, and not even just like a cousin who I'd never speak to. This is a cousin that I, grew up with and went bike rides with as a kid and was talking about me like I wasn't his cousin. And it was such a strange, weird thing to do. And then, later on, I did a show about this because I got sent this thread that was the most vile thing I've ever read about myself. Someone said, hey, I think you should see this. And it was
Thanks for
on
that.
this
Yeah.
properly like right-wing extremist site. So it was like, it wasn't this, but it was along the lines of like Knights of Excalibur or something. Like it was this really like hard out men's rights. Women have a certain role in society.
Yeah.
It was like the most extreme. And it was like, why are New Zealand women so ugly? And I was the example. So they would say, like, they would take these screenshots of me talking and find an unflattering photo, and they would say all of these really harsh things. And the person who sent me that thread, my cousin. And so it was just, I have this, because he was like, which again,
What are
like,
you doing there on that
my
side?
mum was convinced that he wrote the thread. I don't think he wrote the thread, but I'm like, he's like, I stumbled across it. I'm like, you're on these threads. You're part of this community
Yeah.
of these really awful
Whether you follow
people
it
who
or
don't
not,
respect-
it's in your algorithm.
Yeah. And so I just was like, I'm cutting this person off and I don't think I ever want to talk to them again.
Yeah.
Like he explained it as, he's like, I thought you would want to like understand like constructive criticism or something. I was
Oh
like,
my God,
I
yeah.
don't think this is very constructive. I don't know if you're the most hideous person in the world as possibly me. Go, you know what? I'm going to think on that and reflect.
How can I rewrite my next show to adjust it for that?
Yeah, it's just, and I don't think you need to be close to everyone in your family.
No.
If someone is toxic to you and they don't provide anything of value to your life, I don't think you have to feel obligated
Yeah.
to keep them in your circle, and you need to protect yourself.
Of course.
And if you are feeling vulnerable, don't let those people in that they don't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, you're not going to receive anything of value from them.
How do you go with, I think it's an ADHD, under the ADHD sort of banner of questioning here, but
Yeah.
when you hear negative comments or you hear something like that, even though we can go, we can say that's not like,
Yeah.
that's a rational sort of stupid thing to say, but does it still hurt? Did you still think
Yeah.
about it for a long time?
It's funny how you just have to be told it a million times. You can't look at it, and you have to. I just remember thinking, but I have to see what people are saying about me. This is part of my job, and actually you don't really. And I now have very sort of strict filters on my comments. Some get through, but I have filters for my stand-up clips. The phrase "women aren't funny." Oh, another unfunny female comedian. Blah, blah, blah. There's certain phrases I've tried to find every variation of these like really misogynistic things so that I just don't see it on my profile.
Any Knights of
because-
Excalibur content?
Yeah,
That's one of the
exactly.
films.
Yeah. I know it hurts me. And it hurts me to a different extent at certain times. So like if I'm feeling fine, I can laugh at it and I go, oh, that's so ridiculous. But if it catches me in a moment of vulnerability, it will really hurt me and I'll think about it. And I'll feel frustrated because I worked so hard to be good at comedy. And so when someone sort of writes me off before I've even said anything, it's really, really frustrating. And so I have to not see it. And when it gets through it, it's still hard. I had this interaction where someone had tweeted me and they had just said something like, dropped a C-bomb at me or something like that. And I was like, and a lot of people do this where they take this screenshot of the comment and they post it because they know they've got an audience and they go, let's tear this person
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I'm an angel and I've never, ever done that. I have done that. And I just remember it made me feel good for like 5 seconds. And then you see, and you're like, people like, I've messaged them and I've found their workplace, and you're, oh, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
So I don't do that anymore. Not because I think if people do that, that makes them a bad person or anything negative. I just think I didn't think it was serving me in the way I thought it would at the time. And I think it's true that if you have a platform, you do have there's a power dynamic there. So if you're using your platform to encourage people who probably, if they've said something like that, not in a good space mentally. No one is perfectly mentally happy and sound and writing something that harsh about someone. So I would feel like so awful if I replied to a comment and then that caused someone to sort of spiral further mentally, even if they are an asshole. And I remember this guy who tweeted at me, and I went, I'm not going to reply, but I'm just going to look at his profile. And he had lung cancer. He was really, really sick. And I just had this moment, and I just replied to him. I said, I'm sorry, I saw your other tweets. I think you're going through a tough time. I would hate to see you direct that at other people. And he said, oh my gosh, you're so right. He followed me. He likes all of my posts. It's like I did a complete 180 on this one guy. And it's not the practical to think I can turn everyone who hates me into someone who likes me, but just more a case of like the kind of kill them with kindness sort of thing that sometimes those people genuinely just they're saying this because they need to be heard. They're feeling isolated.
I mean, in sort of a roundabout way, it's kind of like a lesson you learned from your mum in a weird way. It's sort of like going, they just want to be seen.
Yeah.
And for you to like see them and go, I know you're going through a tough time. They're like, yeah, thank you. It's just like attention, and could be really necessary.
Totally. And I think we sort of kind of dehumanize people on the internet because they don't feel like real people. And so people in the same way would only comment that. They would never say that to me in real life. And in the same way, I see their comment and I don't see them as necessarily a person because they've got a truck as their profile picture. I don't know anything about this person. And I think we make the mistake of assuming like, oh, this person is like evil, cannot be redeemed, trash, and this person is an angel and amazing. And then the reality is we're all just sort of bumbling through life and making mistakes. And, you've got to remember the sort of position you're in. And for me, that's a very privileged position. And the people who are really unkind to me, I wouldn't want to trade lives with them. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And so I just have to keep reminding myself of that. But it's not something that I'm that good at yet. I'm trying. I still hurts.
I saw a wonderful face-to-face example of exactly what you're just talking about. I did a lot of stuff with the Queensland State of Origin team, the rugby league, and I was hanging out on the day of a game in New South Wales, I was hanging out with the Queensland coach, Billy Slater, and a guy fully dressed in the opposition's like New South Wales stuff came up to Billy right into his face and said the most vile stuff. It was awful what he said to Billy. And Billy goes, mate, I love your passion. I love how much you love your footy side.
Oh.
And the guy goes, oh, thanks, mate. Can I get a photo? And then next minute I'm taking a photo of this guy. And he walked off looking so at first confused, but then like quite chuffed. And then
funny.
Billy Slater. What a legend. Like on the dealing with bad comments and stuff like that, I just don't think we should be expected to be okay with that. Like it's such a new
unnatural
thing. It's like, it would be like being a stand-up, 40 years ago. It would be like going into the foyer afterwards in disguise and listening to the comments. And not only that, following them home and listening to what they're saying. And then even then, if they said, oh, she was shocking. If they saw you sitting there, they'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to know that. So
Totally.
no rational person would ever want to say that.
I've ever had done a show and had to rush to another gig afterwards, so had to walk out with the audience. But I really try and make it clear, like coming through, like to try and stop them from making comments. But I remember one time, and I've never heard anyone say anything negative because my shows are obviously perfect. But the one that always I think about all the time was just hearing someone come out of my show and go, yeah. And I just was like, that is the worst piece of feedback I could have ever heard was just, yeah. That was a show.
That was 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Good for her.
I just remember, it's so funny how mild it was, but how much it stuck in my head. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank
no
you.
worries.
That
So should we
was-
do the next card? Or?
Yeah,
Work our way through.
We work our way through the
Yeah,
deck.
so yeah, you've got 51 to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to chat to you today. Thank you so
Great to
much.
chat to
We
you
are
guys too.
massive fans, and I feel like we haven't had long conversations about the dynamics between relationships with parents, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. So thank you
Great.
so much.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mel.
No worries.
See-
Hello? Sorry.
You hang up.
Okay.
If you liked today's episode of The Imperfects, or even if you didn't, you're still allowed to sign up to our weekly newsletter, My Imperfect Email, at theimperfects.com.au, and it has reflective questions every week and takeaways on that week's episode.
The Imperfects is not a licensed mental health service and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, treatment, or assessment. The advice given in this episode is general in nature, but if you're struggling, please see a healthcare professional or call Lifeline on 13 11 14.